So in this video, we're gonna try to understand in a very easy, simplified way how long-run growth and inflation can be explained using the model of aggregate demand and aggregate supply. Now, I haven't drawn the short-run aggregate supply curve here because we are talking about the economy in the long run only. And we have the same framework with price level like GDP deflator or CPI on the y-axis and the real GDP on the x-axis, right? So this guy right here is real GDP, and this is some sort of a price index. So this is just measuring overall level of prices. Now, what happens as the economy is able to produce more goods and services over time? As the economy produces more goods and services, perhaps because of better technology, but it could be because of anything, you know what would happen to the long-run aggregate supply curve. Produce more goods and services over time. Maybe this is because of better technology. You can then shift the long-run aggregate supply curve to the right. So let's say this was the world in 2016, okay? We can then say that the long-run aggregate supply curve 1 shifts to the right, okay, to maybe we shouldn't make this 2016. Let's make this 2000, okay? Let's look at 10-year intervals because we're looking at the long run. Long run means we're looking at a very long period of time, right? Not 1 to 2 years, which is short run, but long run is much longer than that. So let's start in the year 2000, and we're saying now what happens in the year 2010, okay? So in 10 years, technology has improved, and so the long-run aggregate supply curve has shifted to the right, okay? But remember that at the same time, the Federal Reserve is also increasing money supply. You might ask, well, why do they do that? They do that over the long run, okay? If we look at M1 and M2, which were different measures of what's going on with money or the quantity of money or the money supply or the money stock, that's going up over time, okay? So over a long period of time, money in the system always increases. And so we're looking at the long run here. And so we can easily then draw an aggregate demand curve that shifts to the right because of that change, okay? Because of that change in money supply. You have more liquidity in the system, you'll be able to produce more goods and services, and so with the Fed increasing money supply, obviously people would consume more, invest more, and so on and so forth, right? So you would have that effect on GDP. So Y would also go up, and so aggregate demand curve would shift to the right. And so when that happens, you know, the aggregate demand curve over time is going to shift to the right, right? And this process keeps taking place. So if you want to think about equilibrium between AD1 and LRAS1, that was right here, right? This was our equilibrium initially. Okay, so let's call it price level in 2000. Okay, now when the long-run aggregate supply curve shifted and the aggregate demand curve also shifted, we end up at a point like this, which is, let's say, in 2010, right? So this is price level in 2010. Notice what's going on with the price level. the price level has risen over time, and so has the real GDP. Okay, and so this type of a model can be of aggregate demand and supply, offers a new way or a new perspective to describe the classical analysis. A classical analysis is the analysis in the long run. This is a classical analysis of growth, right? You're seeing growth in the rightward shift of the long run aggregate supply curve, and inflation, which you're seeing on the x-axis with price level going up.